captain speaking. Welcome aboard United Athletics Flight 069, taking you from the rolling green-covered hills of Richmond, Kentucky, to the craggier climbs of Cedar City, Utah, and all the football you can handle in between. We're going around the UAC. Please enjoy today's in-flight entertainment, the Rev himself, Dustin Hilton.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to Around the UAC. Glad to be back with you this week solo, but with more of a voice than last week. We're going to go through the games. Anybody who watches, any comments, anything you want to talk about, we can do that too. Before we get started though, you know me, I love to pick on the Southland Conference. I love to dump on them for football. I love to dump on the quality of football. I love to do all those things. However, this past week, Northwestern State lost one of their players, a gentleman by the name of Ronnie Caldwell, and he was murdered on the campus. I don't know if he's on the campus or just off, but anyway, he was murdered. Northwestern State canceled their game last week against Nicholls State, and this week they moved up the game against Southeastern Louisiana, so the players and coaches could attend his funeral on Saturday, or his wake and funeral. I just want to say, just personally, one, as someone who has had a family member murdered, my thoughts and prayers go to Mr. Caldwell's family and friends and the entire Northwestern State family. Anybody who's a fan of any team, any sport, hates to see news like this. I saw they got arrested in the case, and hopefully that person, justice is served in that. The point of this, though, too, besides that, is I want to shout out the Southland and the institutions for being able to not only cancel the game last weekend so the Demons didn't have to play, but moving stuff around so the team could go to the wake on Saturday. Southeastern Louisiana shortening their week and traveling up to Natchitoches to go play them. That was really great stuff. So I would say tomorrow or Thursday night, if you have the opportunity, you need some football to watch Southeastern Louisiana play Northwestern State on ESPN Plus. I know each team is winless, so I mean somebody's going to get a win, but also I imagine there'll be a lot of emotion in that game, and it could be a very fun one to watch. So with that, let's kind of go into what's going on last week. Yes, Jim Poppin, I started on time, even though I set it up 5 minutes late, but that was just to give me time to get stuff done. We got Bear Fan. Hey, how's it going? So let's talk about the games last week. Interesting games in the conference. And Jamie Williams said this on the FCS Fans Nation podcast that the UAC is probably one of the most fun conferences to watch, and it is. You're getting good quality football week in and week out. Are they the best teams in the country? No. Are there 3 or maybe 4 potential top 25 teams? Yeah, there are. And so I think a lot of people doubted the quality of the UAC because of past performance by the members, but this has been a great conference to watch. So let's go through the games real quick. Austin Peay hosted Gardner Webb, beat them 41-14. This game wasn't even remotely close. Mike DeLello went for 372 yards and a few touchdowns. Trey Shackelford had 126 yards receiving. Absolute great game. Great performance by Austin Peay. And so, there was a discussion about if Austin Peay should be a top 25 team. I left them out of mine. I know some folks have them in theirs, but when I look at their record, yeah, they're 4-2, but who are they 4-2 against? And to me, that just, they don't have the resume. Their best win is against Stephen F. Austin, and I don't know if that's even the best, a great win, to be honest with you. But I'm not doubting anybody who has them in their top 25. I just personally don't have them in mind. Am I wrong? Who knows? Tarleton State and Eastern Kentucky, man, had themselves a barn burner, went to double overtime. Eastern Kentucky pulled that one out 41-35. What's crazy about this game is that last week I said that Parker McKinney would throw all over Tarleton, and Tarleton kept him pretty under control, held down to 190 yards, but he did have a few touchdowns. A big stat. It's not going to make fat stats because there's not enough touchdowns, but Kayvon Britton for Tarleton State rushed for 187 yards and a touchdown. He has really been a difference maker, I think, for Tarleton in their offense this year. You know, their quarterback, Gabalis, transferred from Southern Utah or Utah Tech. I think it's Utah Tech, transferred over to Tarleton. He's done well too. Tarleton is not a bad team. They're a lot better than their record shows. Exactly it, Randall. Shout out to Tarleton. Like, that was a hell of a game. If you get a chance and you can find it on demand, you should go back and watch it. I'll tell you, my guest last week, Coach Fitzgerald, was messaging myself and Jamie Williams and said, and was just going off. You know, we thought Tarleton was going to pull the upset. Honestly, I would have loved to come on here and eat crow with a Tarleton State upset. But you know, it's what it is. Abilene Christian. I guess you could say the Christian. No, can you say the Christians faced Alliance? Does that really work as a thing? Anyway, Abilene Christian faced North Alabama, 30-13 final. I thought North Alabama would have been good enough to potentially beat to win this one, but Abilene Christian did what they had to do, did what you expected to do, did what a Keith Patterson coach team what you expect out of them. Maverick McElvore went for 206 yards. And they got a good receiver in Tristan Golightly. Keep an eye out on him. I actually like him a lot. I'm going to watch them play this week, and so I'm looking forward to seeing him in person. And then the game that's going to cause the rant, SFA went to Conway, went to the Stripes, lost at the very end of the game, 24-21 to UCA. And here is my rant. And I don't know if I've said it or not. SFA needs a new offensive coordinator. It's time. I think every team in the conference has a head coach that they need. Jamie Williams said this last week, and I absolutely agree. I think every coach is in the right thing. There are some folks already at UNF Austin who are calling for Colby Carthel's head, and I don't think you can do that just yet. Yeah, this is now his team, his recruits. He's in the fifth year. He's technically 500 as a coach, but I don't think he's the problem. He made a switch at defensive coordinator last year. We got Mutson from Tulane, and the defense has been improved. Have they been world beaters? No. Are they statistically doing well? Yes. The offense, are we doing well statistics? Yes. But statistics doesn't mean wins. Statistics are for losers. That's the truth. If you can't play a complete game, then you're not going to win. And SFA is not playing a complete game. Their offense, to me, seems very, very uninspired. It seems almost it seems run of the mill. Like, it was built around having Xavier Gibson. They no longer have Xavier Gibson. Yeah, they've got some good wideouts. They've got some talented players, but you don't have the same NFL talent that you had last year on the field. You really don't. Brian Maurer going out did hurt the team some, but Preston Weeks hung in and played and had a pretty decent game. So Kylan Harris, though, I think he's starting to show himself as SFA's go-to wide receiver. And he's had himself a good season so far. And SFA held Will McElwain 106 yards passing. Shanderick Powell's under 100 yards rushing. Like, the defense did what it was supposed to do to win that game, except win the game. But when I go back to folks are going to say, hey, if the defense lost the game at the end, why are you mad at the offensive coordinator? There was a series in the first half. SFA had already gone for 2 field goals, missed them. And it was really there was wind issues in Conway also. But SFA's going the other way now. They have the wind at their back and the song in their hearts. And they are inside the 10. they run a draw. Second down, they run a draw. Third down, they run a QB draw. Fourth down, they finally freaking pass and it's incompletion because it's a bad pass. Why wouldn't you take the 3 points at that point? Yeah, you would have been down 7, you would have been 3-3 at that point. There was no reason to not take the points there, but yet for some reason they decided to do it. And look at what they lost by. 3 points. Decisions like that are the absolute difference in ball games, and that is a bad decision. And I don't know if that was a Carthel call or if that was a Storm call, but either way, something has to change on that side of the ball, because even if not going for the field goal on fourth down wasn't a Storm call, that play set was the most just vanilla white bread, Nilla wafers that you put in the bottom of banana pudding, sort of weak ass play calling, and it was terrible to watch. That's my rant. That's so frustrating to see because SFA showed they could hang in with UCA. I think it's still right now, when you look at the conference, it has to be UCA's conference to win, but UCA doesn't look as tough as they were. They don't look as potent as they did earlier this year. They do show some vulnerabilities, right? Yeah, Bear fan. You get it. You have this. All you do is pass to the sideline. It's the same. It's the same thing. I kind of disagree with this comment though, because you could say the play calling's bad, but look at, you have such a great 1-2 combo in Powell and Darius Hale that there's no reason for you to not be running all over teams. So maybe it is a coordinator call. I don't think it's a Coach Brown issue. I think it's time for a new offensive coordinator. I don't know. But that, I don't know. That's a UCA thing. SFA is so talented. How can I have that record? Yeah. SFA is no shit. 2 games they should have won. Austin P, they should have won. UCA, sorry, Bear fan, they probably should have won. That's the difference between going to the playoffs and not, because now if you're SFA, you have lost to Troy. That was expected. Okay. You have lost to Austin P. You have lost to UCA. But now you've lost to Utah Tech. You have 4 losses. You have to win out the rest of your schedule to even have an outside shot at the playoffs if you don't win the conference. And it's looking like you're not going to win the conference because UCA is still just bowling their way through. Eastern Kentucky's making their way through. Austin P would have a tiebreaker. And SFA still has a super tough schedule coming because they've got Abilene Christian still. They've got Eastern Kentucky still. They've got to go, they've got Southern Utah coming in. It's not set up for them to make the playoffs this year. And then after that, if they don't make the playoffs this year, there's going to be further and further conversations about folks wanting to replace Carthel, but who do you replace him with? If anybody has any coaching suggestions, you can shout them out here, because there's not a coach as talented as Carthel who would be able to move in, who'd want to come to Nacogdoches and take that role. So I don't think it's a Carthel issue. I think you got to look at the coordinator stuff again. But that's just me, and I'm sure some folks are going to get upset that I called out the coordinators. But you know what? I'm going to call out the coordinators because it's what it is. No, the Bears don't give up. They are the cardiac. They are the cardiac Bears. Or sorry, are they one of them cats? I can't remember. They might be one of them cats. One of them cardiac cats. There you are. I wish UCA would stop giving up in their games. Yeah, so we look at, I'm not going to pull up the FCS fans poll, but UCA is in the top 25. Austin P, I believe, made it into the top 25 also. Folks are giving EKU votes. Again, this is probably one of the most on par, middle-loaded conferences to watch, but it's a lot of damn fun to watch. And if you haven't told your friends to watch it, you should watch it. Who wants to watch Valley football? It's only, some of the stronger teams playing against each other. Who wants to watch the Big Sky? Like, who wants to watch Montana beat Idaho in half a beer can? Nobody wants to watch that. right? Who cares about Montana State and the fact that they're probably going to go to Frisco again and play South Dakota State and get their ass beat probably bigger than they did in Brookings? Who cares about that? Don't watch those conferences. Watch the UAC. Watch the UAC. Much better football, a lot more fun. Nobody gives a shit about North Dakota State losing to the USPS, right? Nobody cares about South Dakota State playing SIU. And in case you can't tell, this is all tongue in cheek. But in all seriousness, this has been an enjoyable conference to cover and to watch football. And I will say I think it's surpassed a lot of folks' expectations on how good it could be. So we got some fun games next week. Oh yeah, thanks, Bear. This is a good point. So this wasn't a conference game because this was scheduled as part of an out of conference, home and home sort of thing. And so it actually doesn't count in the UAC because this was something they had already scheduled whenever they did the whole ASUN whack, the team splitting up. So no, this one doesn't count. UAC is the fun of action on Saturday because they have. Oh, that's good, Brendan. Drink your milk. Yeah. So Jim said I watched the other games until I got sick of that turf week ago. Yeah, Utah Tech's turf does not look good on TV. But they need to do some renovations into that stadium. I remember they were just D2 3 years ago. So they probably now are getting some more money where they can do some stuff with that turf. But that turf looked absolutely shiny. And then no, he's not talking about the birthday cake. The birthday cake, that's the Central Arkansas field. And that field is the ugliest damn field on the planet. Sorry, Bear fan. It is. Sorry, Will Seiler, wherever you are. It is so absolutely atrociously ugly. But I thought of more fun things you could do with it. Why don't you take the track that's around it and stripe that? Have one lane purple, one lane gray, one lane purple, one lane gray. Have that go the whole way too. Just stripe everything. Why stop? Why make the end zones black? Stripe the end zones. Throw off people's depth perception. Like, you could do so much with this turf. You can have a lot of fun with it. Zach, can I buy drugs from you? Because that is not the most perfect field in the nation. I will say, though, out of the colored fields, it's a lot more fun than, say, the blue field of Boise, or the gray field of Eastern Michigan, or the teal field of Coastal Carolina that just looks like really shitty AstroTurf from the 70s. Like, I get that they tried to make it teal, and it doesn't work. I will say it's better than those. I don't know if it out uglies Eastern Washington, but it's up there. Should ride a bear around it. They should have bear races. Have people put on bear costumes and race around the track, kind of like how they do the sausage races in Milwaukee, or the that would be even better. Just get different colored bears to go run around the thing, and you can yell, roll damn bears or run damn bears at them. Let's wait till Stephen F. Austin drops that purple field. No, if we were to do some sort of field thing, I don't think we do a purple field. We find a way to make it look like a tree. We would have it be a tree the whole way end to end, brown with the sort of like tree things in it. I think that's what we would do. Checkered uniforms on the striped field that might give people seizures. Although Steve Hotchkiss does say striped. Striped ones would be pretty amusing too, honestly. But no, I mean, I digress. It's fun to make fun of USA's field, but it did what it was supposed to do. It got people talking about that school. It got people looking at that school, because before then they had a tiny field and a mural of Scottie Pippen on their basketball arena, because Scottie Pippen went to UCA. So most of y'all didn't know that, but now you know. Our baseball team, the Fear the Strikes, that's pretty good. I would definitely press away that purple Christmas tree field. Yeah, no, like I said, probably looked like a tree trunk. I think that would be it. One of my favorite things, they took it away, but A&M Commerce had one of the best things ever. They had their lion logo stretched basically from sideline to sideline. And it went, I think, from 30 to 30 or maybe 25 to 25. Like, it was the biggest logo in the NCAA. And then they got in trouble for it and had to reduce it. But that thing was massive. You should Google A&M Commerce midfield logo. And look for the one that went sideline to sideline, because that was damn impressive. I think that was when Ryan Ivey was still there that they did that. But it was a very impressive logo. I was really proud of them for that one. All right, let's go to games next week so I can finish packing and go to bed because I got a 6:30 flight to Michigan tomorrow morning. Eastern Kentucky. They're going to go to Boiling Springs, North Carolina, and get a little maybe a little payback because they're playing Gardner-Webb. So for those of you who don't remember last year in the playoffs, Gardner-Webb somehow won the Big South. And they played EKU in the playoffs, hosted them, if I remember correctly, and beat them by a touchdown, which then, of course, folks like Kyler Neal said that if your conference champion loses to Gardner-Webb, your conference sucks. And I mean, wasn't wrong with that one. So, but if you look at Eastern Kentucky, you look at Gardner-Webb. Eastern Kentucky's retained his team. Gardner-Webb does not look as good. They started top 25 and they fell out of the top 25 like insanely fast. So I think this is the game that Eastern Kentucky's probably had circled on their calendar just for a little revenge as well, just to show that last year them losing was a fluke. I'm going to take Eastern Kentucky by, I'm not even sure what the line is. If the line's out on this one, I don't know if Zach has seen it yet. Or I guess it was at Eastern Kentucky last year. Wasn't a for some reason I thought Gardner-Webb hosted, but it was at EKU. So anyway, I'm going to take Eastern Kentucky 20. I'm going to take them by like 24. Instead of calling scores, I'm just calling the points. 24. If you see Gardner-Webb plus 30.5, you might take Gardner-Webb with the points, but Eastern Kentucky is going to take the win. Everybody's favorite college is named Morehead State. They're coming to play Brendan Lutke's favorite team, Tarleton State, down in Stephenville. Morehead State sucks, no pun intended. Maybe the pun would have been they Swallows, but no. Morehead is absolutely atrocious. Tarleton's good. Tarleton's going to run away with this one. I'm going to say Tarleton by 28 or so. And also, thanks, Brendan, for not being helpful. I appreciate that. And also, Ariel, I saw your comment earlier. Hi to you as well. Yeah, exactly. Tarleton by big. Tarleton by big. That's exactly it. And Ron, I see your comments. I don't know if you realize we're actually talking about the United Athletic Conference, but Eastern Washington's field is so bad that you'll wish you had kept your black and white TV. That is very true. That is pretty bad. I'm just going to put – yeah, exactly, Steve. I don't know why it's not moving. Anyway, so let's see what else we have. There we go. We want more head. Give us more head. Tarleton. All right. Let's go on the next game. Utah Tech goes to Florence. They're going to play North Alabama. This is an interesting one. Both these teams, I mean, this was known as the Battle of the Suck. But these teams don't really suck in the scheme of things. If they were in the Southland, they'd be middle of the pack towards the top. Honestly, they're in the Big South, maybe middle of the pack as well. Utah Tech, they did beat SFA. They have a thing for beating up on Lumberjacks. North Alabama, they've hung in close. I'm gonna take. I think I'm going to take the Lions because they're at home. I'm going to take them by 3. So it's basically a pick 'em. Austin P, who has the best chant in football. Let's go P. They traveled up to play my boy Coach Fitzgerald in Southern Utah. Southern Utah, man, they just look to be improving week after week. They just have to be able to play a full game. They have to be able to play 4 quarters. They have to do what they did. Even against UCA, they look good, but they just have to play a complete game. Austin P is too good for you to slack on. Mike DeLello can sling the ball. Coach, I know you're aware of that. He's got the weapons, but I don't know if their defense is, again, as great, although they did pick 6 SFA. But I'm going to pick Southern Utah. I think Southern Utah gets the upset. I'm going to take Southern Utah by 7 this one, and then that settles that. And also, 2 would fit into the script of the conference of us being the SoCon and just starting to beat up on each other and messing up playoff spots. So I'm going to take Southern Utah by 7. And then the last game of the week, I just picked this one. It's not game of the week. I just picked it because I'm going to it. Abilene Christian goes to Nacogdoches to play SFA. It is homecoming. I actually personally hate going to homecoming. Homecoming is, to me, just the biggest waste of time, biggest waste of game. It takes forever. The kickoff time kind of sucks too. I mean, it's at 4 p.m., but but we're going to homecoming this year. This is going to be a test for SFA. SFA, as of right now, doesn't have Brian Maurer, our quarterback. They're going to have Preston Weeks back there. SFA's defense is going to have to step up and keep Maverick McElvore uncomfortable in the pocket. They've got to keep him pressured. They're going to have to take away the ACU offense. I see these comments because people are saying that I don't like homecoming. I don't like homecoming. I'm sorry. It's just, I never go back to it. I go back any other time. I know Hobo Day was great in South Dakota, Jim Poppin, but this isn't Hobo Day. This is homecoming at SFA, but it'll be fun. We got a bonfire Friday. Pat Green's playing. It'll be a good time. Anyway, so without, sorry for the digression there. This is the make or break game for SFA, because if SFA loses to Abilene Christian, you've got to think SFA is going to lose to someone like Eastern Kentucky. You've got to think they could lose someone like Southern Houston. So if they don't get this one, they're staring down a 5-6 or a 4-7 season. And if that happens, you can bet the torches and the pitchforks are coming out. So this is really the make or break game for through the season for right now for Carthel and his squad. Abilene Christian's sitting at 3. I think they're 3-3 right now. They're not a bad team. I think they're actually a little better than their record has shown this year. I don't want to pick this game. I don't want to pick this game. I'm gonna pick it. I'm gonna pick SFA by one singular point. And if anybody knows why, you have to think about the last 2 times these teams have played. The 2 endings to these games have been the strangest games you've ever seen. Last year, when Abilene Christian came to Nacogdoches, they went for a game-winning field goal that Xavier Gibson caught, ran it back to midfield, then a face mask, put Chris Campos into room, and then SFA kicked the game-winning field goal with no time on the clock. Like, they had to run the play because of the penalty, and so there was legit no time, no moving. And so I'm picking SFA. Does SFA have a fiddle in their band? Well, Chad, if you're going to play in Texas, Steve Hotchkiss says SFA by 3. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Adam Willie says, Merry Christmas, you baby-faced man. You look so weird without a beard. Actually, I do have a beard. It's just very short and it's hard to see because of the light, and there's a lot of gray in it. So there is a beard here. I did shave it down though, some, but I promise you, it's here. It's just it's not the beauty of Chad or Brendan's, but it's still here. I promise you. All right. So honestly, that's it. Notice I haven't ranted on any polls this week because I kind of have to eat a little crow because of what Montana did against Idaho. But at the same time, the Montana team that was around in September is not the Montana team we're seeing today. Making the switch to get rid of Vidlak at quarterback and getting McDowell has been night and day difference for them. And now you have to really look at them and say, hey, this team is a lot better than we thought with the right weapons. So, but with that, I know Brendan's here and I appreciate the comment. So if you guys haven't, for those of you who don't watch any of the conferences, go watch the B team on as far as Jackrabbit Illustrated, and watch last night's show specifically because they had Stone Labanowitz on from FCS Nation Radio, and Stone Labanowitz, one, is really, really, really damn smart, and damn good. at what he does. But he made this great comment at the end that I wish I could clip and play. But he said that basically said that FCS would be FBS if we had the resources, we had the cameras, we had the coverage. And he's 100% correct. But one of the biggest things you guys can do as fans, even if you're just fans of the UAC, you're a fan of Abilene Christian, you're a fan of a specific school, go like and subscribe to other FCS shows or follow them on social media. FCS Fans Nation on YouTube. I'm sure most of you like and subscribe to that because you're already here, right? We'll go over to Jackrabbit Illustrated YouTube, like and subscribe there. Make sure you go over to Hack City with Joe DeLeon and Sean Anderson. I mean, Sean Anderson's poll was questionable this week, but they still put out good FCS and FBS content. Go like and subscribe, support them. Sam Herder, Zach McKinnell from Blue Bloods and all of his crew, Kevin Marshall and Stone and FCS Nation Radio. The biggest thing we can do as fans of this subdivision is go support the folks who are helping cover it. Because without folks like this, without the national folks, without all of that, without Craig Haley and his crew, you would have the beat writer from the Nacogdoches Daily Sentinel as your one voice for SFA versus the beat writer for, the Pigs Knuckle, Arkansas, Register covering UCA. Like, you would not have the coverage that you have now. And I mean, look at Division II and look at what Division II does and doesn't get. Corey, I don't know, for those of you in Texas, Corey Hogue, he is really awesome too. And he does coverage of all the levels of football in Texas. Go like him on social media. I mean, he is covering high school, and then he's doing stuff for Dave Campbell's Texas football and all of that stuff. Just like I said, go find all the FCS content that you can, like, subscribe, support. Yes, Will, you are the Pigs Knuckle. And also I did like this Go Cats. So I did see that. One other thing, a note, next week, well, a couple things. I'm just go ahead and tell you now. Next week, I get to have another guest. This is a pretty cool guest. Someone who reached out to me, Kyle Grooms, who is the associate commissioner for the United Athletic Conference and for the WAC, reached out to me. He actually offered to send me some swag, which is cool. And I said, hey, Kyle, why don't you come on the show and talk shop? So he's going to be on next week, 7:30 or so on Tuesday. Thankfully, I don't have any work travels next week, so it'll be easy to do the show. So come on, bring your questions and comments. Ask anything about the UAC is going to be here. It's really cool to get a commissioner on. I remember a couple years ago, I had the old WAC commissioner, Jeff Hurd, on whenever I first started podcasting, and we had a really great conversation about the WAC and the future of football. And then I'll tell you this now, and I'll remind you next week, the week of Halloween, you would think Halloween I will be going because it's Tuesday, and I'm not, because I won't be here. I will actually be at the largest trade show we have for the year in Las Vegas. And I have to travel out Tuesday. So Monday night, you can get a nice double header on FCS Fans Nation, because I'm going to go live, and then the B team's going to go live right after me. So you can get your fill of FCS content on a Monday, and then you can go do Halloween things on Tuesday, like go trick-or-treating or anything like that. Bear Fan says, I'm dressing up like a lumberjack. I honestly, for Halloween, I'm dressing up like myself. I actually was going to make a joke about my team, but I decided not to. No. So anyways, you guys, again, thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing, all the stuff. Have a great rest of your week. Keep safe. Enjoy the football this weekend, and we will see you next week.